What if a police chase destroyed a sacred memory? What if they refused to own their mistake? In Arizona, 85-year-old Henry Davis lost a piece of his heart, but his community brought it back with love. Stay tuned for a story of eternal love, betrayal, and a touching journey to healing. In the quiet suburb of Sunridge Estates, Arizona, the desert sun cast a golden glow. The scent of creosote bushes filled the air. Here Henry Davis had lived for over 6 decades. He was an 85-year-old widower with a gentle spirit. Henry had bought his $270,000 Adobe-style home with his late wife Eleanor in 1960. It was a sanctuary of their love. On the warm morning of June 15, 2028, Henry knelt in his flower garden. He wore his old straw hat, tending to the roses. The garden was his sacred space. It was where he felt Eleanor's presence every morning. She had passed away from illness 10 years ago. Henry planted the garden in her memory. "Good morning, my love," he whispered to the roses. Their petals glowed in the sunlight. The sound of a distant hawk echoed in the sky. Sunridge Estates was a peaceful community. But that morning, chaos shattered the calm. A police chase tore through the neighborhood. They were pursuing an escaped convict who had fled custody. Sirens wailed loudly. Tires screeched on the pavement. Henry looked up, startled. His hands froze on a rose stem. A police cruiser sped toward his property. It swerved to block the convict's car. The cruiser veered into Henry's yard. It plowed through his flower garden with a sickening crunch. Roses, daisies, and lilies were crushed under the tires. Petals scattered like confetti. Henry stood in shock. His heart pounded. He stumbled forward, falling to his knees. "No! Eleanor's garden!" he cried. Tears streamed down his weathered face. The officers jumped out of the cruiser. Their boots crushed the remaining flowers. The lead officer, 39-year-old Carl Bennett, glanced at the destruction. He saw Henry kneeling in the dirt, sobbing. "Sir, are you okay?" he asked. His voice was tense. Henry's voice trembled. "This was my wife's garden. My Eleanor," he sobbed. "It's all I have left of her." His hands clutched a broken rose. Bennett radioed for backup. The static crackled as he spoke. "We've got a civilian upset. Situation under control," he said. His tone was dismissive. The convict was caught a block away. Neighbors rushed out of their homes. They gasped at the sight of the ruined garden. Some knelt beside Henry. His sobs grew softer. The loss felt like losing Eleanor all over again. Henry stayed in the garden for hours. He gathered the broken flowers in his hands. Each petal felt like a piece of Eleanor slipping away. He remembered the day they planted the first rose together. She had laughed, her hands covered in soil. "This will be our forever place," she had said. Now it was gone. Tears fell onto the dirt. The sun beat down mercilessly. The Homeowners Association took action. The HOA president, 45-year-old Sarah Lopez, had known Henry since she was a child. Sarah's parents lived next door to Henry. A neighbor's security camera had captured the entire incident. The footage showed the cruiser destroying the garden. It showed Henry's collapsing grief, but Officer Bennett denied responsibility. "The garden was already damaged," he claimed. His voice was cold. "We didn't cause his distress." Sarah's heart broke for Henry. She clutched the camera footage. "This is cruel," she said to the HOA board. Her voice was firm. "Henry deserves better. He's lost so much." The board agreed to fight for him. They hired a lawyer to sue the police department. The rustle of legal documents filled their meeting room. Henry's pain became their mission. The community would not let him grieve alone. The trial took place in a local courthouse. Residents packed the gallery. Their footsteps echoed on the tile floor. Henry sat in the front row. His hands trembled as he held a photo of Eleanor in the garden. His eyes were red from crying. The lawyer played the camera footage. The video filled the screen. It showed the cruiser crushing the flowers. It showed Henry's anguished collapse. Gasps filled the courtroom. The evidence was undeniable. Officer Bennett took the stand. He shifted uncomfortably. "I didn't see the garden." He lied. His voice was shaky. The judge's eyes narrowed. "The footage says otherwise," she said. Her tone was stern. The lawyer pressed further. "You saw Mr. Davis in distress. Why didn't you take responsibility?" he asked. Bennett stammered. I was focused on the suspect," he said. The courtroom murmured in disbelief. Henry spoke next. His voice trembled as he stood. "That garden was where I talked to my Eleanor every day," he said. Tears streamed down his face. "She loved those flowers. They were her smile." He held up the photo of Eleanor, laughing among the roses. "When they were crushed, I felt her die again." The courtroom fell silent. Some jurors wiped their eyes. Sarah squeezed Henry's shoulder. The judge delivered her verdict. Her gavel slammed down with a resounding thud. "Officer Bennett, you are guilty of reckless destruction," she declared. Her voice boomed. "You caused harm and lied about it." Bennett was forced to admit his guilt. He was fired from the police force. The department was ordered to pay Henry $6,000 in damages. The courtroom erupted in applause. Henry's neighbors cheered for him. Henry returned home a week later. His garden was still a mess of dirt and broken stems. He sat on his porch, staring at the empty space. The loss of Eleanor felt heavier than ever. Sarah and the HOA had a surprise for him. A group of neighbors arrived with flowers and shovels. "We're bringing Eleanor's garden back," Sarah said. Her voice was warm. They worked under the Arizona sun. The sound of laughter filled the air. The neighbors planted new roses, daisies, and lilies. The garden bloomed again, vibrant and alive. They added a special touch, a stone bench in the center. "For you to sit and talk to Eleanor," Sarah said. Her voice was kind. They carved Eleanor's garden into the stone. Henry sat on the bench. He touched a rose petal gently. "You're here again, my love," he whispered. Tears of gratitude filled his eyes. Henry spent every morning in the garden. The flowers swayed in the breeze. He spoke to Eleanor, just like before. "They brought you back to me," he said. His voice was soft. The community had given him more than a garden. They had given him peace. Sunridge Estates became a symbol of love and justice. Henry smiled at the roses. The warmth of his neighbors healed his heart. And so, a ruined garden became a battle for justice in Sunridge Estates, Arizona. Henry Davis found solace through his community's love. How would you honor a loved one's memory? What do you think? Should communities protect sacred spaces? Share your thoughts. Join us next time for another tale of justice. Until then, keep standing up for what's right. Thank you for listening.